just searching the net for some confusing text walkthrough, or perhaps even throwing some random parts together endlessly hoping to create it, this guide will provide players with the specific parts to create all three pieces of Galacta Armor, and where these pieces can be found. So let's get started with the headpiece. The headpiece requires a junk part, serpent gear, and a glass cannon. Now junk is easily created by combining 2 to 4 parts that are not part of an existing recipe. You'll see what I mean later. Secondly, of course, is the body piece. This piece requires a junk part, an S crystal, a Ganga gun, and a Ceratanium. And lastly, we have the foot slot. It is composed of a junk part once again, Bombardier, Beamwalker, and a Moloid. Okay, now there's one more piece we need to construct, and that's actually the S crystal. Unlike the other parts, the S crystal is not dropped by an enemy. It requires 4 parts itself to be created. It is Fatale, a Megaman, a Variant Fire, and Ceratanium. One other thing worth noting is the Moloid. We will get to that a little bit later, but that's an important part. So for the headpiece, first off we need serpent gear, and it's actually dropped by the mid-boss of the hibernation chamber, these small gears. Drop rate is pretty good, 1 encounter is usually enough. Next up, the glass cannon. Once again, this part is dropped by the mid-boss of the artificial sun. Drop rate is a bit lower, and I had to revisit the stage a few times, and here it dropped twice. Figures. Alright, so that's the first piece. Moving on to the body slot. Again, we need to create both the junk part and the S crystal for this. Next, let's grab the Ganga gun though. The Ganga gun is dropped by these drilling machines, most prominently found in the particle beam or magnetic zone. No problem, just keep respawning them. Now we need Ceratanium. Ceratanium is not dropped by enemies, but rather placed somewhere in the stages. Cool thing is you can revisit a stage over and over to collect multiple Cerataniums. If you know a place to get them, beat the boss, keep coming back, and exiting. And you can stack up all the Ceratanium you need, actually. Alright, 2 down, 2 more parts to construct, actually. Now let's go after the foot piece. The foot piece, we're going to start off with the Bombardier part. And these capsules in the deep sea and other stages endlessly deploy 3 types of enemies, so you can actually stand here and easily farm for what you need. Also a great place to fill sub-tanks, actually. So we're looking for the red hopping enemies. And they're actually going to follow these ones, the electric enemies here. And again, you could just sit here and endlessly farm for whatever you need. The other enemies coming out of here drop parts too, but we need the Bombardier. Alright, next we're going to go after the Beamwalker, which is this little guy walking around mindlessly. Now this applies to all the enemies when you're farming this. Just scroll them off screen and you can get them to respawn. Alright, now onto the Moloid. This is very important. That's why I mentioned it earlier. The Moloid only appears in one stage, and it's the settlement stage, and this stage cannot be revisited. It's the only place where those enemies actually appear in the entire game, and we're looking for those little guys with the big mallets. So if you happen to finish the settlement stage without getting a Moloid part, you're not going to be able to create that Galacta Armor. So you definitely want to farm these guys here before you end the stage. And now that we got the foot armor, we need to go after the S crystal. The S crystal has 4 parts, first of which is the Fatale. The Fatale is actually dropped by these lifts in the particle beam stage. You can destroy them yourself, but I actually prefer just letting the particle beam take care of them. That way you can stay out of the way of the particle beam, and again just keep scrolling the lifts off screen let them respawn. You can only destroy them when they're in the up position, by the way. So, I don't know if there are any other stages, I can't remember. But, easy stuff. Alright, next we're going after a Megaman. Remember these capsules? Alright, we're actually killing the capsules this time, and drop rate's pretty high on these things, actually. Alright, back to the particle beam for variant fire. Variant fire is dropped by the standard soldiers, so actually you shouldn't have to farm for these. Just playing the game, you're gonna acquire a whole stack of these V-fires. So, that takes place of everything we need. Alright, so let's put this thing together. I'm not sure exactly where I'm gonna start here. I believe I'm just gonna start with a headpiece, I think. Once again, we need to make some junk first of all. So this is what we do. We take the parts that we don't need for this recipe. Put 2, 3, or 4 together, any random order, and you're going to create junk. Now remember, we need 3 junk pieces, so just grab some parts that you don't need. Get 3 junk parts out of it, and then we can start putting together the armor. First armor piece, of course. Well, let's grab junk here, and then we're gonna go down to the serpent gear, grab that, and the glass cannon. And there we go, the junk head. I guess Galacta is actually interpreted to English as junk, I guess. Next, we need to actually start off with the junk again. We're gonna go after the body slot, or no, excuse me, the foot slot. Next is a bombardier, a beam walker, and then that moloid. And here we got the foot piece. Now before we can put together the body piece, we need to create an S-crystal. And the S-crystal doesn't require junk, it requires 4 pieces and ceratanium. So we need a Fatal, a Megaman, a Variant Fire, so you got 9 of them, and ceratanium. Once we create this, we can go ahead and create our body piece. And the body piece also requires a junk spot, so let's throw a junk part in there. And then let's get our S-crystal, followed by the Ganga gun part, and then another piece of ceratanium. Alright, so this is the junk body, so we have all 3 pieces constructed, and what we do is we're going to equip them all at the same time, actually. It's worth noting that if you only create one of these pieces, you're not going to get the desired effect. All 3 need to be worn in order to use the Galacta Armor. Galacta Armor, for those who are wondering, it's going to double your attack power, but it also doubles your damage received. I figure this is an excellent option for speedrunning, low damage speedrunning, I guess, because you're not looking to take damage anyways. Right? So it doesn't matter about the double damage taken. Plus you're doing double damage. That means you can kill enemies quicker, thereby making this time and speed quicker the stage. So I would have liked to actually put this armor together before I speedrun all of these stages, but in fact what happened to me is I ran the settlement stage without grabbing a moloid. So by the time I was looking into creating the Galacta Armor at the end of my MMZ4 clear, it was too late. I didn't grab a Moloid point. So, but in any case, if you're planning on doing a no damage run, I would throw this armor together. It'd probably increase your time. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this helps.